Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to another weekly analysis. Now on the screen are the 10 pairs we'll be analysing today. But before we get into that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and also leave a like on the video if you're feeling generous. And make sure you go check out my Instagram account and also my Telegram channel. I'll leave the links to that in the description for free Forex updates and a lot of different trading setups throughout the week. So make sure you go check that out. Links will be in the description. But like I said, we've got another weekly analysis. So let me stop talking and let's get into the video. First up, we've got Euro USD. Okay, so for Euro USD this week, we saw a push to the upside. We finished last week with this strong bearish candle to the downside. And I was expecting to see that momentum continue to the downside and break through this support here. But as you can see, the market held previous support here. The market held that support and we saw a move to the upside. So still treating this movement to the upside as retrace. You can see it on the 4-hourly moving to the upside quite steadily here. I think as long as we stay below this key level in the market here, so you can see previous support gave us a move to the upside, previous resistance gave us a move to the downside. So a really key level in the market around 1.22200, so around there. So for me, as long as price stays below this level, potentially could be seeing the bigger move to the downside and see price continue to the downside and give us another swing there. But if price does get above it, we'll probably start to look very bullish at that point. And if we hold, probably can see price maybe come back to the highs again and just continue that overall bullish trend on the higher time frames. But for me, I'm looking for another move to the downside for USD. And if we finally do get a break of this support here in the market, we can probably see that drop to around 1.2, which is this key level of prior resistance. Will be turning support here, so around this area here, which is kind of using the 1.2 level there. So again, resistance here, really nice move to the downside, and you see there again with that bearish candle resistance there as well. So we broke above that, expecting to see price go and retest that as support. You can even see it on the weekly chart here. We had a really strong close to the downside last week with this strong bearish candle here, so we could just be seeing this bullish candle retracing that bearish candle a little bit back to this sort of area to go and retest that, then see another move to the downside from that same area from a weekly point of view to go and test some weekly levels, which is this key level here, prior resistance here on the weekly will be 10 support. So from a weekly point of view, probably expecting a move to the downside, and a daily point of view, probably be expecting a move to the downside. So for next week, I'm looking for another swing to the downside unless we get back above that key level there that I pointed out on the 4-hourly chart, which in that case, we'll probably see another swing back to the highs for USD. Next, we're going to take a look at USD JPY. Okay, so for USD JPY this week, we saw price kind of slowly just continue to climb to the downside. You see price is still respecting this key level of resistance of this trend line here in the market. We've got about 5 tests of this trend line now. As you can see, initial test there, second, if I move that slightly down, third test there, fourth, and our fifth test there. So price is still respecting that trend line currently. Could be seeing a break to the upside because we had such an impulsive move to the upside prior to that, and we could be seeing this move to the downside, this bearish move to the downside, just a bit of retrace before we see price continue to break through that trend line. But again, that's probably the more bolder statement to break through the trend line, since we struggled to break through the trend line with these 5 attempts prior to that. So we could well see price maybe just like slowly roll over to the downside, back to the lows again to retest it, maybe give us a double bottom, and then we can go and see price eventually go and break through that trend line and see a bigger swing to the upside. And if you eventually do break through that trend line, I'm probably be expecting price to go and retest the previous major swing high in the market, which is around this area here, around 105,500. As you can see, really nice push to the upside, found some resistance there with the trend line, fell to the downside, and eventually created some new swing lows there in the market. So if you do break that trend line, that's what I'm expecting price to go. But as you can see now, price is really struggling to break through the trend line. As you can see on the 4-hourly chart, price kind of still moving in that bearish manner. So if we get above that trend line there with a daily close, a strong daily close, as you can see, we really haven't really had any strong closes above that level. So if you could get a strong daily close above that level, that could take us to the upside and go and test that swing high up there. But if we just keep this bearish momentum, this bearish structure here, probably eventually just roll over to the downside back to the lows here for USD JPY. So be a bit more reactive this pair. Again, USD and JPY move quite similar, so you can see not really clear-cut moves in this market here, very choppy. So we might just continue that momentum and fall back to the downside. That is still a possibility. But if you see some strong momentum closing above that trend line, we could well be seeing a bigger swing to the upside back to test that key level up there. And next we've got USD CAD. Okay, so for USD CAD this week, not too much happened in terms of direction. We did get some movement up and down, but again, price is kind of still stuck in a little bit of a range here. Last week I was saying potentially can get a move to the upside if you broke through this level here. If we've got maybe a daily close above that, or we broke up the hourly chart. But as you can see, we never really broke through that level. Price respected that level and fell back to the downside again. And I did say, probably expect to see price fall back to the downside if you do respect that level, but if you did see it a close above it or break, probably expecting a move to go and test this previous swing high there on USD CAD, but as you can see, we never got there in the end. So right now for USD CAD, it looks like we do have a little bit of a range. So if I jump to the 4 hourly chart, again, I highlight this support here in the market, so using this wick there and drag that across, you can see we do have a bit of a range, clear resistance up there, bit of a false breakout there. As you can see, big bullish candle breaking through the level, but then the next candle's bearish, breaking right back underneath. So false breakout there, retested there, support, resistance, broke below it a little bit, but as you can see, we broke back above. So again, a little bit of false breakout there, and now we're looking bullish for USD CAD. So probably going to be expecting price maybe to continue a little bit further, maybe to go and test that resistance there, but at the moment USD CAD is stuck in a range, clear support there, clear resistance. And until we see a breakout, we can't really work out which direction USD CAD wants to go in. So again, reactive, not predictive for this one. If we do break above that resistance, probably going to be expecting to see a swing to go and test this high here, previous high here. Or if we see price become bearish and break below that support, probably see another swing to the downside and price just continuing that bearish trend there. But right now, USD CAD is still stuck in that range there. On the 4 hourly chart, we just need to see a break above this area, and preferably want to see a daily close above these levels, because as you can see, 4 hourly closes getting a lot of false breakouts there in the market, whereas daily we're just getting wicks, so you can see there's no actual breakout there. So probably want to see a daily close above that resistance or a daily close below that support to identify a breakout. But right now price is ranging and we can break out in any which direction. Up next is Euro GBP. Okay, so for Euro GBP this week, not too much happened. Again, just a lot of consolidation around there, as you can see on the daily chart. A lot of wicks to either side, to the upside and to the downside. Prices right now kind of stuck at a really key level of support in the market. So if I take this level across, you can see a really strong area of support there. Bit of a false breakout there during the week there, but as you can see, Friday's candles taking us back inside that area. But again, really strong level in the market. I was saying during my weekly analysis last week that we do expect to see this support level eventually break to the downside here. Because again, we've tested it so many times here and we're failing to really push on to the upside here. As you can see, we were making higher highs there. There's a high, there's our next high, but since we're failing to make those highs, you know, as you can see, failing to really make those highs there and respecting this prior resistance here again in the market and failing to push on, it is showing signs that price wants to break through this level. But however, I probably do expect to see a movement to the upside first before we go and break that, because as you can see, we had this kind of quite choppy bearish pattern there in the market, bearish trend here. We had a nice push to the downside to go and test that support. So again, expecting to see some retracement of that big push to the downside and see retracement back up again, and then maybe see the break of the support and see that bearish trend start to continue for Euro GBP back into the higher time frames, such as the monthly and the weekly. And currently right now on the monthly chart, which is probably a thing to look at right now, we do have a little bit of a range on this monthly chart here. So if I do highlight this area, just take the highs there and the lows of the bodies. So again, we do have a bit of a range here in the market, and as you can see, multiple wicks to the upside, multiple wicks to the downside. Price is really struggling to get a close above this box, above that consolidation. And if we do get a close below or above this area, it could take us on a nice breakout to the downside, and we could see the next month or the month after that be in that direction, see a nice push to the downside or to the upside. But I'm probably favoring a break of this consolidation to the downside and probably see a swing to the downside from a monthly point of view back to this area of support. So it could be seeing a long term for the next couple of months to the downside for Euro GBP to go and test that support there. But of course, we need to see a close below that area. I know the current candle is currently trading below that area, but again, by the end of the month, end of January, you could pull all the way back up and close within that consolidation, and we could just see another month another month of consolidation after that. But for me, I'm probably expecting to see a breakout to the downside for this, and we'll only know when we do get a close above or below this consolidation. But from a monthly point of view, we're just consolidating and probably be expecting to see a break. By the analysis that we've done on the daily time frame, probably expecting to see that break to be to the downside. But first, for your GBP, probably going to be expecting to see another leg to the upside, get some retracement, and then probably see another push to the downside for this pair. Okay, so up next we've got AUD USD. Okay, so for AUD USD this week, not too much happened again in terms of key levels getting broken or in direction. We had a bit of movement to the upside and back down again on the lower time frames at the 4-hourly chart and the hourly chart. But again, from the daily, we're kind of just moving sideways here for this time frame. Again, we still got this key level just below us here, which is kind of our swing low in the market here on the daily time frame. As you see, a really nice push to the upside. Back again, found support in this area, push back up again, creating some higher highs, and now market is just consolidating above that key level. So again, market just moving sideways here on the daily time frame. If we do break below it, we could potentially see a bit of a counter move to the downside and retrace this big push we've had to the upside, which again over 700 pips now, almost 800 really. So we could be seeing a bigger retrace to the downside coming up for AUD USD. And again, we do have a really key level here of 0.74, previous resistance there, nice move to the downside. In fact, it's actually weekly resistance as well. As you can see, this 0.74 level, prior weekly resistance, could be retested as support now. As we broke through it, didn't really see a retest of that level. So from a weekly point of view and a daily point of view, probably want to be seeing some retracement and a move back lower. But again, still respecting that key level on the daily chart. So we need to break through it. On the 4-hourly, as you can see, we're kind of just moving up and down. We are forming some lower highs, so probably to start the week off, we might see a move back into the support area. And if we break through it, again, we can start to see that daily starting to come in and that bigger move to the upside. But again, as long as we respect that area, potentially could keep seeing that consolidation happen, or maybe even break to the upside there. So kind of key level, break through it, probably expecting a move back to 0.74 eventually, probably not just in one go. If we keep remaining above that support level, probably just expect more consolidation for AUD/USD or maybe a break to the upside. Now let's take a look at NZD CAD. Okay, so for NZD CAD this week, we did see price eventually get to that level that I was talking about, this prior support and resistance around here. I was saying potentially be expecting a move into this key level. You see we did get one price consolidated there for a bit, a couple of dojis, and then pushed to the upside. So right now NZD CAD is testing a key level of resistance. So I'll take this across here in the market. So prior resistance here, really nice move to the downside, broke above it, acted as support a little bit, there's a bullish candle, fell back below, and now is retesting as resistance. So if we do hold this area and price respects it, I do expect to see another swing to the downside and actually take out that previous low and see price come and test this key level around here, around 0.9, really key level of support, and could be seeing another push to the upside, because again, the last time we got rejected from this area, we saw a move to that 9,000 level. So potentially could be seeing that same again and another swing to go and test that support. However, if we do break above it, we potentially could see that uptrend just continue for NZD CAD, because you can see in the market we have this swing high here, push the downside, new swing low, new swing high. This potentially could be the new swing low of the market, and in that case we'll probably break above that resistance and see price go and create another higher high for NZD CAD. So that is still a possibility for this pair, but for that to happen we need to get above that resistance. So as long as price respects it and holds that level, probably expecting a move to the downside, but again, reactive, not predictive on this one. So if you do get that strong price action there, bearish price action there, could be seeing a nice move to the downside. Break above it, we'll probably be expecting some new highs for NZD CAD. Next up, we've got GBP NZD. Okay, so for GBP NZD this week, we did see price break through this key level of resistance in the market. As you can see here, prior support all along there, term resistance here, so really strong support there. Nice push to the upside, now retesting as resistance. Broke to the downside. I was saying last week you do expect price to break through this level. As you can see, we did break through this level this week, and now we are retesting it as support right now. So as you can see, price is getting those dojis there on Thursday and Friday, doji candles, bit of indecision, because again we're testing a really strong area of support. So if we hold this area, we could be seeing another push to the upside, but we might see price retrace a little bit before we expect the continuation to the upside for GBP/NZD after we did see a really nice swing to the upside. Could be seeing a retracement of that, and then maybe price can go and have that move to the upside for GBP/NZD and fully break out of this resistance here, because again we did see a nice move to the upside. Probably want to see a retracement of that, but of course if price does hold this level, could see price just continue to the upside and create some new highs there potentially for GBP/NZD. Break back below it, probably be expect to see some retracement there, but my bias is overall probably to the upside for GBP/NZD to make some higher highs, maybe to go and test this key level here of resistance. As you can see here, price wicked into this level many times. We almost got there this week, but price kind of just missed it there. So I'm probably expecting some retrace to the downside for GBP/NZD, but overall expecting another push to the upside to go and test that level around 1.93. Next, we're going to move on to CAD JPY. Okay, so for CAD JPY this week, we did see price kind of consolidate a little bit. Again, we're still stuck in this range for CAD JPY. So if I highlight the area of resistance all across there, and I highlight this support area, you can see for the daily chart, price is just ranging between that resistance and that support. And again, we haven't broken out just yet for CAD JPY. I was expecting to see price break out to the upside probably, but as you can see, we're really struggling to do that. We had a bit of a false breakout there, so we could be seeing price maybe fall back to the downside for CAD JPY. Price is still respecting this trend line here in the market, and until we see a break of it, price could still trickle to the upside and actually see a breakout to the upside. But because we're failing to really push higher, we're probably going to see a break of that trend line probably next week for CAD JPY, and a break of that trend line could start to mean a nice trend to the downside, and finally see price come and retest that support area and just continue with this range, because at this point price is really failing to break through that resistance there. It's had multiple attempts, so it does look like it's probably going to hold. And if you do see a break of the trend line, we're going to start to see a nice move to the downside for CAD JPY. Again, probably not going to be a straight drop there. It's going to have some pullbacks there, but first target I would say is probably this support here where we found the bearish candle, and then we had this support here, and then we saw price just rocket to the upside. So if you see a break of that trend line, probably going to be expecting a move there first. But if you do see a break of that resistance, could probably start to see that uptrend just continue really, and probably see a really nice push to the upside. But I'm probably favoring CAD JPY to push to the downside and maybe go and test this area if we do get a break of that trend line. Up next is GBP USD. Okay, so for GBP USD this week, we saw another push to the upside. We were over here in this area last week, but then you see we had another push to the upside for GBP USD. We're still looking bearish, still bullish here, sorry. Price did close above there on Thursday, but as you can see, we didn't really sustain those highs, because the next candle on Friday just closed right back below. So bit of a false breakout there, but I think the bias is overall still to the upside for GBP USD. If you take a look at the monthly, it has a really key price action here. Again, really key level of resistance throughout the past year or so for GBP USD. Price was respecting it really well on the monthly time frame, but as you see, December's candle closing above there, so we could be seeing a breakout to the upside for GBP USD with that really strong close there, and we could potentially see a bullish January as well, which is this current candle here on the monthly chart. Could be seeing that close bullish as well. Right now it's kind of just a doji there, but we could be seeing a push to the upside from a monthly point of view to go and test this area here. So could be seeing a bit of an uptrend for GBP USD long term, but could again be seeing some retrace first before that happens. But from a monthly perspective, long term perspective, probably expecting to see that overall uptrend that we have here on the daily chart continue to the upside here for GBP USD. But again, really choppy. So if I dive into the 4 hourly, you can see really choppy there. Could be seeing a bit more retrace on this pair first, maybe back to this area in the market here, really nice support, and then probably see another push higher. But again, this pair right now is really choppy in terms of its movement here, so probably gonna be expecting to see some retracement first, but overall probably expecting GBP USD to continue to the upside and create some new highs. And last, we've got GBP CAD. Okay, so for GBP CAD, it looks like we're pushing to the upside here on the daily chart. Key level of support here, so dive into the 4 hourly. See, we broke to the downside here, really strong move for CAD news. Price held this support, and now is looking quite bullish here. So I am expecting GBP CAD to continue to the upside for the long term, because if I dive into the monthly here, again, long-term point of view, but you see in the monthly recently had a big, really big push to the upside, and price is showing so many wicks to the downside here. So again, price is holding this support area really well on the monthly. Every time we move lower, we just get all these wicks. So I'm expecting us to eventually break to the upside because of this analysis here on the monthly. So again, long-term, probably favoring another move to the upside for GBP/USD, but currently again really strong resistance here for GBP/CAD. So we might be seeing some retracement first again before we move higher, but I do think we could be seeing a breakout in price coming back to these highs here around 1.78. So again, more of a long-term point of view, again weekly, monthly, long-term time frames here, but again we could be starting to see a breakout of GBP/CAD and a trend to the upside, and we could be reaching 1.78 potentially, or maybe even all the highs up there where we had the volatility there in the markets. But right now we are still looking bullish here on the daily, coming into some resistance, so probably going to be expecting some retracement first, maybe to go form another swing low in the market, then eventually go and break it to the upside. Okay, so that's the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed that and found it useful. If you have any questions, agree, disagree, make sure you leave it down in the comments and I'll make sure I'll get back to you. But that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I'll see you later.